possibly the creepiest episode of the series as Dimple's plans are kicked into action, let's get recapping. Mob is having an odd start to his day as Misato and Tomei both blew him off to join the Psycho Helmet cult. In the meantime, Reagan has studied all the damage done by the Divine Tree, deciding it would be best to destroy the giant broccoli, considering the cost to his business. Meanwhile, Teru finds out mind-controlling candies are being handed out throughout the town, facing off with the source, the Psycho Helmet cult leader. And to the surprise of no viewer paying attention, it was Dimple. During this time, Reagan decides the best way to dispose of the tree is to toss it into the ocean. Mob figures it's going to be at least a 2 Esper job, so he enlists the help of his brother Ritsu. Unfortunately, he eats one of the Divine Tree candies and attempts to lure them into a trap. Reagan and Mob dash away from him. However, they can't help running into more Psycho Helmet zealots. Once they finally evaded the brainwashed townspeople, Reagan ponders if this religious group is really all that bad or not. Mob has no problems with the Psycho Helmet followers, but does take issue with their leader manipulating them. Reagan decides it's not worth taking down the tree and spoiling everyone's fun. Once Mob realizes that Reagan has also fallen under Psycho Helmet's influence, he's left with no choice but to continue his journey to the Divine Tree on his own. Okay, this episode knew how to cast an ominous atmosphere over the whole town. Now, there are the obvious things like the music played, the imagery and framing, the clearly sinister way that certain characters are portrayed, but the star element, I believe, was how casual the townspeople came across despite them all being obsessed with this religion, which was used well to heighten the isolation and anxiety of our main characters. Although Mob's ego taking a bruising wasn't addressed in the way I thought it would be, it was also used well to make him doubt himself in key moments by contrasting with the prior episode. See how Ritsu and Teru reacts to Mob saying he thinks people are looking at him?
Finally. Congratulations, brother.
I don't think it's a misunderstanding at all. When a guy's as cool as you are, the ladies just can't help looking his way, am I right?
Then compared to this episode and how Reagan reacts.
I get it. Everyone goes through that overconfident stage sooner or later. You're probably better off not telling people, you know?
But speaking of Reagan, it is a bit odd how his eventual brainwashing comes about. They're shown walking along the river, he starts to ask questions about the Psycho Helmet cult, and he changes his mind about destroying the tree. Now, I believe this is played as a shocking revelation, but I was just confused, if anything. I thought his hypnosis was caused by touching the poster. However, they establish the brainwashing is performed by consuming the Divine Tree, which the followers add to the food and drinks. And Reagan never ingests either. You could say the apple may have been the culprit, however, he eats it near the beginning of the episode, and we get a line from Teru that the effects are instant.
Brainwashing's so powerful, it kicks in immediately.
And he only eats a piece of a biscuit. I have to conclude that this is only done for the sake of convenience, which unfortunately explains a lot about this episode. Why is Sarazawa not around? Well, he has night school. Despite how desperate the situation gets, Reagan never thinks to reach out to him. Same with Teru, he finds out really quickly that the tree is the source of the brainwashing, but never gets in touch with any of his friends to help out or even to warn them. An argument could be made that he has a bit of a hothead streak, such as when he tried to take on Shimazaki alone, but there are details that make that situation make a little more sense, as Shimazaki was in the process of kidnapping the Prime Minister, and Teru was hoping to catch him off guard. To give the show some credit, not all characters act senselessly or are completely forgotten. Minagishi finds the store's plants are rotting and the Divine Tree is the cause of it. When he attempts to manipulate the roots, it knocks him out, demonstrating how powerful the tree is. Another example would be Ritsu eating the candy shows us how when a person is brainwashed, they basically become a hive mind with the other cult members. Dimple is way more menacing than he's ever been before. It's not entirely unbelievable, his goal of becoming a god is clearly nefarious. There is a sense of tragedy here. We've seen Dimple grow more compassionate towards the people around him. However, he decides to drop his humanity to pursue his goal, which only creates more anticipation to see Mob and Dimple face off. We've seen Mob confront villains who've forsaken their compassion, but having a personal history has potential to add to the drama. We leave with Mob contemplating being the last person unaffected as a huge crowd cheers his name. Definitely a twisted way to mess with Mob, as he finally gets the sort of attention he was craving in the last episode, but surely not in the way that he would have wanted. The episode effectively created a menacing air by turning the town into a character of its own, trying to consume our main cast. However, I think in its attempt to get us to a Mob and Dimple showdown, shortcuts and conveniences were made. Why do certain characters make the decisions they do, or others not appear at all? And how did Reagan get brainwashed? Doesn't seem likely there will be any answers, as the plot is already moving on to the climax. That's all for now.